speak to this as well. She alluded to it, I think, in her comments, and the reality is, as far as I can tell, and as far as Rebecca would probably speak to on the ground, technically, is the franchise open to others? The answer to that question is yes. Practically, is that possible? The answer to that question is generally no. The infrastructure costs are quite high to do that. Generally, the industry sort of carves out the areas that they operate in and the areas that they don't. One of the things that Comcast is suggesting to the FCC in order to allow this acquisition to go forward is pointing out that they really operate in different market areas to a large extent. So while it would be nice to be able to say, yeah, we could open it up to competition, I think in the industry as a practical matter, you will not see that happen. And I'm happy to let the IMS director speak to that if she wishes.
Is this some?
Definitely, the IMS director. It is a non-exclusive franchise agreement. Anybody who wants to provide video cable services in Keene may approach the city for a franchise. Time Warner does not have full rights.
So what are they getting? What are you giving away to 2022?
Am I correct that they own the wires, though?
They own all of the infrastructure, that is correct.
But first of all, in technology, a tremendous amount can change between now and 2018. I don't know how you're constraining the town. What do you give? Why do they want this? What are you giving away that they're claiming? What do they own by you signing this contract? I mean, how does it affect me? How does it affect the customer?
I would encourage City Attorney to also provide some input, but what it gives you is an advocate. So if you have a complaint and you're not satisfied with the result, you can call the city, or any subscriber can call the city, and we can handle it through our, in this case it would be the PLD committee if it's not resolved satisfactorily. So that's one thing that the community gets out of having this franchise. So we really are an advocate for the community in terms of the services that they are being provided.
But what are we giving? What are we signing away? Why do they want 5 more years? What are we signing away there?
City manager, perhaps.
What alternatives are we restricted to because we signed this contract?
Okay, see if the city manager can shed some light on it.
Well, I walked in late, so I'll apologize for that. So you may have already provided a portion of this answer or the answer in its entirety already. So if that's the case, please stop me. But the initial request came from the city as a result of our ongoing conversations with Cheshire TV, asking Time Warner to make several concessions. That opened up the conversation. It went back and forth relative to a variety of issues that both Time Warner, Cheshire TV, and the city of Keene were interested in. As a result of that, this arrangement relative to an extension of the existing franchise agreement came about, and now we're here this evening talking about it. A franchise agreement is non-exclusive. It's more than just an advocacy. I think that would occur if it were in the community regardless. It is an agreement between the city and any interested entity that wants to provide cable service. Unfortunately, we're a tiny market. As a result of that, there are no competition. There will be no competition relative to infrastructure the like of what Time Warner has available to it. They couldn't afford to come in and compete. Now, if we were in metropolitan Los Angeles, there probably would be 2 or 3 providers, but not in Keene, New Hampshire, not in most small communities. So the franchise agreement is a foundation. It's a basis for an arrangement, for an agreement. It does provide for technology. In the past, it's worked quite well relative to that technology. It's only in their best interest to provide additional technology and to make improvements as they go, because they lose their customer base without it. I'm not aware of any particular disservice that's been done to the customer. Of course, people don't want to pay any more for these channels. However, Time Warner, when it negotiates these channels, as we know, CBS being a prime example, has to pay more for these channels. As a result of that, they pass along some of that cost. And there is DirecTV. There are alternatives if you feel that the service is not worth the price that you're paying for it.
Does someone answer your question?
Sort of. I still don't.
And also, I apologize for not going to the public to ask for questions. My mistake. Thank you. Yeah.
before Mrs. Landry leaves. We've been talking about 2023, and you also brought up about new technology. And one of the things around the country, Google is doing broadband, and they're doing their own, basically, non-cable service through broadband. So it would be quite possible 5-6 years from now that cable TV, such as Time Warner or Comcast is delivering, would become obsolete, and some big one like Google or someone else could come and take their place as a viable, cheaper alternative.
Yeah, what we're seeing is, like you said, eventually people moving away from cable TV services and investing more in broadband, fiber optic infrastructure. The fiber optic infrastructure can deliver voice, data, video, you name it. And so that's where we see more of the, what are some of the video providers over the web? Hulu, right? Netflix, and you'll see more and more of these internet-based providers as the broadband deployments grow. Google Fiber, don't get me started. We did apply to be a Google Fiber community. We lost to, was it Kansas City, or I think maybe it was Topeka, Kansas. But anyway, Google right now has chosen other communities to deploy their fiber optic networks in every region except New England. However, we are talking, and very much talking with people like the Economic Development Commission and Fast Roads about how we